Good evening. So, day 140 of the carnivore diet, and got home from work a little bit ago. Had my dinner right before I got home. We got a delivery from Butcher Box. Just got that put away. They got some unique foods there, or unique meats there. Uh, Things like their bacon. It doesn't have. It's not cured with sugar, according to their ingredients. And I know from my wife, type 2 diabetic, when she eats the butcher box bacon, she doesn't have uh, spice in her glucose. So apparently it does work, or it doesn't have sugar in it. So that's always a good thing. But you can get some, I can get some stuff there, I should say, that I don't get in our regular stores here. Uh, Bison, I got some bison meat. I got lamb, ground lamb. So plus two free ribeyes that come with it, the bacon, um, with a country sausage that doesn't have sugars listed in the ingredients again. So we'll find out this weekend whether or not that affects my wife's blood sugars. But got home tonight, and um, again I had steak tonight. I had two ribeyes, a 10 ounce and a 14-ounce ribeye. They're so good. Okay, I love ribeye. Um, it's one of the best meats that you can buy out there, and there's nothing like it. Well, I guess a good filet mignon is all right, but it doesn't have the fat that the ribeye has. Um, of course, the ones that I cut myself, I buy the rib roast, so I leave most of the fat on there. I trim off a little bit of it, but I leave a lot of the fat on there, and I've gotten in the last 140 days to where I can eat the fat. I've always had issues trying to eat the fat from a steak, um, but getting used to it, and I actually look forward to eating that fat. I still don't have a taste for the gristly parts of the ribeye. You always have that one gristle part that runs along the cap. I just I have a hard time eating that. I got to cut around that and cut that one piece out. But other than that, I eat all the fat, all the meat, just that gristly part. The 10-ounce ribeye was one that came from Butcher Box on my last order. So that one's actually trimmed up pretty lean. It doesn't have a whole lot of fat in that one, but made up for it with the one that I cut myself. That's a good one. Um, so it's just a reminder, it's World Carnivore Month. There's no better time than now to start the carnivore diet. Uh, Carnivore can be, there are different types of carnivore. People use different things. As long as you're primarily eating a meat based diet high in fat and protein, you can add stuff in like dairy. It's not going to hurt you. Um, and you will know after a few weeks if you just eat the beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and then you add in dairy, only add in one thing at a time. And you will know the next day whether or not that agrees with you. I myself have had issues with some seasonings. Um, oh, what the heck was it that I had that absolutely? I got some ground beef from Walmart. Their basic 80/20 ground beef. I actually think it was the 10 pound, the big 10-pound log that they have. And we divided it up into 1 pound chunks and vacuum sealed it. And when after I ate my first one of those, and that's all I had was just that. The next morning, I woke up and I was like, "Oh my god, what is wrong with me? I hurt. My legs hurt, my feet hurt, my back hurt." And I'm like, the only thing I had different than that whole day was that ground beef from Walmart. So I did it one more time and made sure that's what it was, and yeah, that's what it was that was bothering me was that the ground beef. So there are the more you work ground beef, like if you run it through a grinder at a certain size, and then you run it through a grinder again, make it smaller, and you run it through again and make it smaller. The more you process a ground beef, there's something that's called histamines, and it will release the histamines, and people have reactions to them. And that's what I was thinking happened to me with that. There is, I had a bad reaction to the histamines caused by the grinding process. But you'll know the next morning what it is that bothered you. If you just add one thing in at a time, just one, don't add in uh, a cheese and a sour cream or cream cheese and a whole bunch of other stuff at one time. Just do one thing at a time, and you will know what bothers you. Um, some people they do a ketovore where they have like fruits with it, or they'll have uh, vegetables that are no sugar added or the fresh vegetables and stuff, not processed. If it's not processed, you have less of a chance of having reactions to it because you don't know what's being put into it. But there's no reason why after a couple of weeks, uh, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending upon how your body's doing, that you couldn't add in something different. You're still eating a primarily animal based diet. Um, if you've ever had to go to a dietitian for their counseling and for them to teach you the proper way to eat foods on moderation, it's a bunch of bullshit. But their advice is you take your plate and you make quarters out of it, and you only have a quarter of your plate as a meat protein. The rest of your plate should be vegetables and fruits and dairy or whatever the hell they say. Well, they've got it backwards. Primarily, your plate should be, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm just somebody speaking from my experience. Primarily, the plate should be three-quarters of a plate of meat and only a quarter of anything else. When I say meat, I am, you know, I'm talking about fish, beef, lamb, chicken, uh, eggs, stuff like that. Three-quarters of your plate. You want to try some vegetables after 3 or 4 weeks, only use a quarter of the plate and not heaping just a scoop of vegetables and see what it does. If it works for you, it works for you. It doesn't work for me. I don't I don't care if I ever eat a plant again, but it's you will know right away. Um, we got a taco seasoning that definitely didn't agree with me. I felt like I'd been hit like by a Mack truck after eating tacos, maybe with this stuff. So just remember, it is World Carnivore Month. If you're sitting there on the fence, there's no better time than now to jump into it. Carnivore lifestyle is eating meats, ruminant animals, beef, butter, bacon, eggs, fish, whether it's salmon, shrimp, scallops, sea bass, but you want to make sure that what you're eating has the right macros for fat and protein. You want to try to keep your fat and protein at a 70-30 as pretty much as a minimum. Your body needs the fat. Your liver uses that to make your hormones, make your cholesterol. Your cholesterol brings all the building blocks of your body throughout your body. That's why you have cholesterol. It's actually very essential. And the new studies are coming out, the ones that are being released, and I've read a couple of them here in the last couple of days. They all are talking about cholesterol. And the higher your LDL is, above 70 and higher, you have a longer lifespan. It's a higher mortality rate if your LDL is below 70. You can look the studies up, search for it. It's out there. It's what I've done. If I'd have thought about it, I would have had the links on here, but yeah, I'm just not that smart today. So, y'all have a great day. Have a great night. Uh, go eat a steak.